Hello friends, if you receive a Social Security overpayment letter, do not toss it in a drawer and do not assume it is just routine paperwork. Because in some Social Security overpayment cases, your monthly check could be reduced by as much as 50% while Social Security collects the money back. Now let me be very clear right at the start. This does not mean every senior is losing half of a Social Security check. It does not mean Social Security is cutting everybody by 50%. And it does not mean every old overpayment is automatically treated the same way. This warning is about a specific kind of notice, a Social Security overpayment letter, especially a newer Title II overpayment notice sent after the 2025 policy change. If you ignore that letter, miss the deadline, and do not ask for a reconsideration, a waiver, or a lower repayment rate, the amount withheld from your monthly benefit can be much larger than many people expect. And for someone living mostly on Social Security, even one reduced check can throw the whole household budget into trouble. A Social Security overpayment means the agency believes it paid you more money than it should have paid. That can happen because of work income, a late report, a change in marital status, a living arrangement, a disability review, a survivor benefit issue, a representative payee issue, or a benefit calculation that was later corrected. Sometimes Social Security is right, sometimes Social Security is wrong. And sometimes the amount may be correct, but the repayment rate would be impossible for the person to afford. That is why the worst mistake is not asking the right question. In this video, we are going to break this down in plain English, what an overpayment letter means, who the 50% withholding issue can affect, why SSI is different, and the 3 requests you need to understand before your check is reduced. Number 1, an overpayment letter is not automatically a scam, but scams can copy the fear. If you get a letter saying Social Security overpaid you, your first job is to verify it calmly. A real overpayment notice should explain why Social Security believes you were overpaid, the amount they say you owe, how they plan to collect it, and what rights you have. Those rights may include the right to disagree with the decision, the right to ask Social Security not to collect the overpayment, and the right to ask for a lower repayment rate. But scammers know that older Americans are afraid of losing Social Security income. Fake letters, fake emails, fake texts, and fake phone calls can use the same frightening words: overpayment, urgent, penalty, final notice, or arrest. Here is the safe step. Do not call a random number from a text message. Do not send gift cards. Do not click a strange link. Do not give your Social Security number to someone who called you out of the blue. Use your official Social Security account, visit a local Social Security office, or call Social Security through an official number. If the letter gives a phone number, compare it with the official contact information before you trust it. And if an adult child, spouse, caregiver, or trusted family member helps you with paperwork, show them the whole notice, not just the envelope, not just the first page, whole letter, because the deadline, the reason, the benefit type, and the repayment language may all be inside that notice. Warning number 2, the 50% rule is real, but the details matter. This is where a lot of confusion comes from. Some people remember hearing that Social Security reduced the automatic overpayment withholding rate to 10% in 2024. That was a real policy change at the time, and it was meant to reduce hardship for people who were facing very large collections. But the policy later changed again for many new Title II overpayments. For overpayment notices sent beginning April 25, 2025, Social Security's PolicyNet instructions say the default Title II overpayment withholding rate is 50% of the monthly benefit. Title II generally includes Social Security retirement, survivors, and disability insurance benefits. In plain English, that means this can affect people receiving regular Social Security retirement, widows or widowers, certain family benefits, or SSDI, depending on the exact overpayment notice. SSI is different. Supplemental Security Income, or SSI, is not the same as regular Social Security retirement. SSI is Title 16, and SSI overpayment recovery remains generally limited to 10% under the SSI recovery procedures. Before you panic, identify the benefit type. Yourself, is this notice about regular Social Security retirement, survivors, family benefits, or disability insurance under Title II, or is it about SSI? Is it about your own benefit, a spouse's benefit, a survivor benefit, a child benefit, or a person for whom you are representative payee? That one difference can change the response. Now let us put the 50% number into everyday terms. If your monthly Social Security benefit is $2,000, a 50% withholding could mean $1,000 is held back while the overpayment is being recovered. If your check is $6,006, 50% is $800. That is rent money. That is groceries. That is medicine. That is the electric bill. This is why the letter matters. Before we go further, if you are not subscribed yet, subscribe and turn on the bell. Social Security, Medicare tax, and senior benefit rules keep changing, and most people are never personally walked through what a government letter really means. This channel breaks these notices down in plain English so you can check them before money disappears from your monthly budget. Warning number 3, do not argue the wrong issue. There are 3 different responses people often mix together: reconsideration, waiver, and lower repayment rate. Not the same. A reconsideration is for when you believe Social Security is wrong. Maybe you were not overpaid at all. Maybe the amount is wrong. Maybe they counted income incorrectly. Maybe they missed documents you already sent. Maybe they used the wrong month, the wrong wages, the wrong living arrangement, or the wrong benefit record. If you believe the overpayment decision itself is wrong, you ask for reconsideration. In simple language, you are saying, I disagree with this decision. Please review the facts. A waiver is different. A waiver is for when you are asking Social Security not to collect the overpayment from you. This is usually based on 2 big ideas. The overpayment was not your fault, and paying it back would be unfair or would create financial hardship. Then there is a lower repayment rate. This is for people who may agree they were overpaid or may not be ready to fight the whole issue, but cannot afford the amount Social Security plans to withhold every month. Not just call and say, this is unfair, and then hang up. Be specific. If you think the overpayment is wrong, say, I want to request reconsideration because I disagree with the overpayment or the amount. If you think you should not have to pay it back, say, I want to request a waiver of overpayment recovery. If you need a smaller monthly withholding, say, I want to request a lower recovery rate because the proposed withholding creates hardship. Write those sentences down before you call. Warning number 4, the forms matter, but proof matters just as much. Social Security uses different forms for different requests. Consideration, the form often used is SSA 561, Request for Reconsideration. For a waiver, the form often used is SA 632, Request for Waiver of Overpayment Recovery. Repayment rate change, Social Security may use Form SSA 634, Request for Change in Overpayment Recovery Rate. Do not worry if those form numbers sound confusing. The important thing is not memorizing numbers. The important thing is asking for the correct action and keeping proof that you asked. When you contact Social Security, ask these 4 questions. Which form do I need for this exact notice? What is my deadline? Will collection stop while my request is being reviewed? How do I prove you received my request? That last question is important. If you mail something, keep a copy. If you fax something, keep the confirmation page. If you bring it to an office, ask for a receipt or stamp if available. If you call, write down the date, the time, the name if given, and what you were told. A folder can protect you. Put the overpayment notice, envelope, forms, pay stubs, bank statements, benefit letters, medical bills, rent receipts, utility bills, and any notes from calls in one place. If your case becomes complicated, that folder becomes your memory. Warning number 5, treat the first 30 days as urgent. Many people look at a government letter, feel overwhelmed, and say, I'll deal with that next week. Then next week becomes next month. That is dangerous with an overpayment notice. Social Security notices include deadlines and appeal rights. In many situations, acting quickly can stop collection from starting while Social Security reviews your request. But you should not rely on what happened to a neighbor or what someone said in a comment online. You need to read your own notice and confirm the exact deadline for your case. The safe rule is this: treat the first 30 days as urgent. Do not wait until the last few days. Do not wait until the smaller check arrives. Do not assume you can fix it later with one quick phone call. When you receive the letter, circle the date on the notice, circle the amount, circle the reason, circle the repayment language. Then write the deadline on a calendar. If you are confused, call Social Security and say, I received an overpayment notice. I need to know the deadline to request reconsideration, waiver, or a lower repayment rate. Ask only, am I okay? Ask the exact questions. A general question can get a general answer. A specific question gets you closer to the action you actually need. Number 6, you may be able to ask for a lower withholding amount. This is the part many seniors miss. People hear 50% and assume there is no choice. But if that withholding rate would make it impossible to pay rent, buy food, fill prescriptions, keep utilities on, or cover basic living costs, ask about a lower repayment rate. This does not mean Social Security will automatically approve every request. It does not mean the debt disappears. But it does mean you should not stay silent if the proposed withholding would put you in financial danger. Prepare a simple monthly budget before you call. Write down your monthly Social Security amount, pension income, if any, rent or mortgage, utilities, food, prescriptions, medical premiums, insurance, transportation, and any other essential bills. Use real numbers, then say, I am requesting a lower recovery rate because the proposed withholding would prevent me from meeting ordinary and necessary living expenses. That phrase matters. Ordinary and necessary living expenses. If you live alone, say that. If your spouse recently passed away and your income changed, say that. If you have major medical costs, say that. If your rent increased, say that. The person reviewing your request cannot consider facts you never provide. Number 7. A waiver is not the same as a payment plan. A waiver asks Social Security not to collect the overpayment. That is a bigger request, and you need to understand the basic logic. Usually, you need to explain why the overpayment was not your fault and why repaying it would be unfair or would create hardship. In plain English, you are saying, I should not be forced to repay this because I did not cause the mistake, and repayment would hurt my ability to live. Examples may include situations where you reported information correctly, followed instructions, relied on what you were told, or had no reasonable way to know the payment was wrong. But do not guess and do not exaggerate. Tell the truth. Provide documents. Explain dates. Show what you reported and when. If you received a letter years after the alleged overpayment happened, write down what you remember and gather old records if you can. Bank records, wage statements, rent records, benefit notices, and prior letters may help clarify what happened. If the amount is large or the facts are complicated, consider getting help from a legal aid office, a senior assistance program, a benefits counselor, or a qualified representative. You do not need to face a confusing overpayment alone. Now let us put this into a simple example. Suppose a retired widow receives hefty $900 a month from Social Security. She opens a letter saying Social Security overpaid her and plans to recover the money from her monthly benefit. If the default withholding is 50%, that could mean roughly $950 withheld from a $5,900 check. Could she live on the remaining amount? Maybe not. So she should not ignore it. She should check whether the overpayment is correct. If she disagrees, she should ask about reconsideration. If she was not at fault and cannot afford repayment, she should ask about a waiver. If she needs to repay but cannot survive on the proposed withholding, she should ask for a lower repayment rate. Notice what she is not doing. She is not calling a random number from a suspicious message. She is not assuming Social Security is always right. She is not assuming the 50% amount is the only possible outcome. And she is not waiting until the reduced check arrives to ask questions. That is the mindset you want. Calm, organized, specific. Here is your action checklist if this letter comes to you or someone in your family. First, verify the letter through official Social Security channels. Second, identify the benefit type. Title II and SSI are not the same. Third, find the overpayment amount and the months involved. Fourth, read the deadline. Do not guess. Fifth, decide which issue applies, disagreement waiver or lower repayment rate. Sixth, ask for the correct form and file it as soon as possible. Seventh, keep proof of everything you send. Eighth, make a hardship budget if you need a lower repayment rate or waiver. Ninth, get help if the amount is large, the facts are confusing, or the notice involves a spouse survivor benefit disability, SSI, or representative payee issue. And 10th, do not wait for your check to be reduced before you act. The most important lesson is this: an overpayment letter is not the end of the conversation. It is the beginning of a deadline. You may have rights, you may have options, you may be able to challenge the amount, you may be able to ask that the debt not be collected. You may be able to request a lower withholding rate. But those options do not help if the letter stays unopened on the kitchen table. You are on Social Security, or you help someone who is, make a simple rule in your house. Any Social Security letter gets opened the day it arrives, placed in a folder, and reviewed before the deadline passes. Do not panic. Do not assume it applies to everyone, but do take it seriously. Because for the people who are affected, this can be the difference between a manageable repayment plan and a monthly check cut so deeply that the household budget falls apart. Subscribe for more plain English senior benefit alerts, and share this with someone on Social Security, Medicare, SSI, or retirement income. One letter, one deadline, and one phone call can make a major difference.